Next we're going to do the third page. To save us some time, to save myself some time in preparation, I've already covered it with my pattern paper. You can cover it both ways, both sides. Next you're going to want to do, this is a strip that is going to hold two flaps that come out together. The way it works is that, and actually it should be this way. The way it works is a 3" by 1/4 inch, a little bit over a 1/4 inch strip, and you're just going to cut it out of whatever cardstock you have. And then you're going to attach at the ends. I like to attach, you don't have to attach anything, but I like to attach little things that are indicative or themed with the album. And actually, if you just want to make it 2.5, you can make it 2.5. This one's going to be quite large, and it'll look funny. So I've just made it, I've just cut it actually eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be precise, and you'll see in a minute why. So here is my 1/4 inch strip of paper by 2.5. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere my little paw print. And this little paw print I made myself with some punches from Recollections. These are $1 from the dollar bin. Next you're going to need a brad. Okay. Next you're going to want a brad, and this brad is actually quite large for this. You're going to take your strip, and you're going to, in the middle, or as closely as possible to the middle, you're going to make a little hole. Good enough. You're going to put the brad through, and this is going to be your swing tab, holding two simultaneously. Before we put in this mechanism, you're going to want to put your flaps. So for your flaps, you're going to need 2 strips of paper, and actually this was a strip of paper from leftover. It was the whole it was a whole strip like this, and it is 11. This is 11 inches, so you're just going to cut it at 5.5, and this measures 4 inches. So when we were doing this first tab here, the leftover paper from this is what you're going to use for your tabs here. So when you cut it at 5.5, you're going to score it at the middle, and it got wet a little bit. And once you're scored, you're going to adhere both flaps. And you want to adhere them as closely as possible to your top, and you'll see why in a minute. See how it pops open? The smaller your tabs are, the easier, the more they want to pop up, just because the weight won't hold them down. That's why on your earlier tab, I didn't put a swing tab, because the entire page was a tab, a fold-out tab, and the weight was enough to hold it down. Okay, so this strip of paper here is necessary so that you can put your mechanism here and it shuts. You don't need to adhere your pattern paper just yet. You will, however, need to make sure you're holding your paper this way. You can take your brad out and kind of eyeball it, or you can measure it real well. And that's where I want my hole. And for this one, I'm just going to use my scissors again and put my fingers through. And I haven't adhered this very well. Okay, Okay, that was a little too much pressure. Don't do that. And I'm using a different type of brad because the brads that have the paw print on them would be too big. They would just be too big for my closure here. Or we can measure them actually. Take a look. I had done it just a little bit below, like here. Okay, I will use this one then. The other thing I forgot to tell you is that you want to use thick paper. Because this paper is not thick at all, I'm going to have to cut another strip of paper. You want your closure mechanism to be real sturdy. Okay, so I've tripled back this and it's nice and sturdy. Okay, so now this brad here holds both flaps closed, and you can add your pattern paper now. And then when you twist this way, it opens up. I've already cut my pattern paper, and the measurements for these are gonna be 3.5 by a little bit over 4.5, so 4 7/8, and that's going to be for both flaps. And then there you have it. That is the third page. So at this point, we have done this first page with this swing tab swings this way. The second page, which opens up this way. And it has a pocket here for more pictures. And then this page with this double swing tab for pictures right in here, and more pictures in here, or journaling. And then this page you can is left blank. So now we're halfway through the album. We only have 3 pages left, and then the covers. And of course you can decorate it to your heart's content. And so join me again for the 4th page.